What's happening, everyone? Sam, aka FIFA Brit here, and welcome back to the final third. I am joined by my favorite lad in the whole wide world, Mr. MrBradThomas. And even though we're in an international break, I don't know why that's here. Who put an international break here? Terrible scheduling, but you know what? We're here anyway to talk about last week and just to, chat, shoot the shit, and see how things are going. So, without further ado, Brad, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'll be honest, though. I lost my first two bets of the day. Don't like when that happens, but hoping to kind of get a little turnaround as this international window goes on.
What action did you have going on today? I know there's
I had
nice games going on.
Portugal first half corners. It was plus 120, so I can't get upset about it. It wasn't even close, so we didn't have to sweat it. And then both teams to score in Switzerland and Denmark, but Swiss are down a man now.
Gotcha. Huh. Well, you never know. Mine's, anything can happen.
Yeah, literally anything.
I've seen crazy stuff. We got San Marino leading 1-0 against Liechtenstein, so hopefully they pull that off. Of course, by the time everyone hears this, they'll know. So
yeah, they'll be like,
you get to experience this in real time. Yeah, they'll be like, hey guys, they won like 5-0. Like, oh wow, that's fun. But yeah, let's talk about last weekend. As an Arsenal fan, I have thoughts more than usual, which is frustrating. I hate having to do this, but let's get into it. Brad, did you see this ridiculous red card incident?
Wait, you know what? I was watching the game, I was at a family reunion, kind of distracted, and I didn't even realize you guys went down a man until I was also drinking, but until your Twitter post, I have your notifications on, and I was like, wait, what happened? I had to rewatch it.
I know, because if you watch that in real time and you watch the incident, you see a red card come out, the natural assumption is that it's been given to the guy who just kicked the fuck out of Declan Rice for no reason and didn't even go for the ball. But no, I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. I like, it's really annoying too, because people just assume that I'm biased towards Arsenal when I wouldn't. Like, if Arsenal do something bad, I will say that. Like, I'm always very open about it. Like, I thought we got incredibly fortunate against Liverpool when Odegaard was practically playing basketball. I don't know how that wasn't a handball, but somehow it wasn't. And everyone keeps showing me that picture whenever I complain about the refs going against Arsenal. I'm just like, okay, sick. That's one decision. That's one decision that Arsenal got lucky in their favor. And I could count like 5 for every one that we've benefited from. Yeah. But now, to be fair, the yellow card in the first half was silly. Should never have been on a yellow card to begin with. But and what's annoying is that I said to someone on Twitter at halftime, I was like, yellow card for Rice and Partey is not ideal. But I trust Rice. I watched Rice play a whole leg against Bayern, where if he got one more card, he would have been suspended for the second leg. I watched him play that whole game, didn't get a card, very disciplined, played very well. I'm like, I can trust him to be disciplined. Partey, I'm like, is more of a concern for me. Maybe we should bring on Jorginho. And then literally 2 minutes into the half,
he gets a card.
Declan Rice gets the most ridiculous red card I've ever seen. Genuinely, I don't think I've seen a red card more ridiculous since Van Persie got sent off against Barcelona in the Champions League because he took a shot because he couldn't hear the ref's whistle because he was playing in front of the 90,000 Camp Nou crowd.
When it was funny because you had tweeted about Partey being liability, and he got a booking 30 seconds later.
Yeah, that was very funny. That was really funny timing. But he stayed on the field somehow.
Yeah, he did.
But I don't understand. It's the inconsistency. I'm not going to go as far as to say referees ref Arsenal specifically badly. I'm not going to go that far and say there is absolutely an agenda against Arsenal. The problem is that there's so much inconsistency, and we tend to be on the wrong side of that. You'll see decisions go against Arsenal that you will never, ever see. Not only will you never see against other teams, you might never see again. There was a year or two ago, Martinelli gets 2 yellow cards in the same sequence of play. he commits quote unquote a foul down the end. The ref plays advantage, and then the play continues. And about 30 seconds later, he quote unquote commits another foul. The ref points down there, gives a yellow card for that, and then points to the spot where the second foul happened, does another yellow card, and then sends him off. The whole point of a yellow card is to serve as a warning.
Yeah.
There can be no warning if you do not issue the yellow card. And I guarantee you will never see that happen ever again. I have never seen it before or since. Only happens against Arsenal. And then I promise you, if you watch, and here's the thing, because I watched all the games on Sunday with this in mind, because I had just seen Rice get a yellow card for quote unquote deliberately time wasting. Now, I think it's up for debate whether he was actually deliberately time wasting or not, but that's a separate thing. But if you watch the games, and if you go and watch, like when the Prem comes back next weekend, just watch and take a look at how many times the ref gives a free kick, and the guy that commits the foul or anyone else on the team either dribbles the ball, even for a couple of seconds. That's the thing, because Rice nudged it slightly out of play. It's not like he booted it into the fucking second tier of the stadium. He nudged it slightly because the ball was kicked into him by Veltman. So the standard that has been set by that one incident is a second or two of quote unquote time wasting, because all Veltman had to do was go and pick up the ball, put it down. Now you can resume play. Instead, what he did was deliberately kick a chunk out of Rice's leg and got no card for it.
Yeah, so, it was kind of brutal too. And I was like, maybe had it in my bet slip, didn't press it. Arsenal to win in under 4.5 goals. I would have been freaking livid. I would have been so pissed.
I know. But now, I promise you, whenever you go and watch the games and see if someone commits a foul, see if they pick up the ball and walk a little bit, see if they touch the ball at all after the free kick is given. That's the standard now. That's the standard that has been set by this Rice incident, and I promise you, you will not see a card given for it. You will only see a card given for egregious and deliberate time wasting. Like, for example, a goalkeeper when the team's up and he takes about 30 seconds to kick the ball. That's a yellow card, and that typically comes after repeated warnings. Typically, the ref will whistle, tell him to hurry up. And then after that happens, maybe on the second time that happens, maybe the third. Typically, if it's the last 10 minutes of the game, there'll be a bit of a shorter fuse. That happens twice. Then you get the card. Yeah. Rice had not committed any sort of time wasting beforehand. And it didn't. And the amount of time he took off the clock was about a second if Veltman had gone for the ball.
It felt weird because like you said, I didn't feel like Rice was wasting time. Like it was something that he was actively doing.
No, not at all. That's the thing. If you're deliberately wasting time, you don't waste time by doing that. And like,
nor in the 49th minute.
Yeah, you don't waste time in the 49th minute, and you don't do it and Brighton have a free kick in literally basically on their own goal line in the corner. It is, I think, mathematically speaking, as far away from the Arsenal goal as you could possibly be. Like you would have to be on the corner flag. Like mathematically speaking, it's almost as far away from the goal as you can possibly be. There is no threat whatsoever, nor is there any need for us to time waste because we're winning 1-0. There's a whole half left, and we had the momentum at that point. Before the red card, we had like 10 shots to their 2 or 3. We were completely owning the game. No need to. And the amount of people that chat on Twitter who have very clearly never played a game in their lives, have never stepped on a field, it's so frustrating because you watch the sequence of play. Veltman has the ball. Veltman kicks the ball into Rice. It bounces off Rice's back foot. He then looks down, sees the ball at his feet, and gives it a nudge. That is instinct. If a ball is kicked into you, the instinct is to like control it or touch it in some way. You know, it's almost certainly a subconscious thing. Yeah. And then he somehow gets a yellow card for delaying the restart. I'm not even sure if it was time. I mean, it's time wasting, but the specific like law that they're clamping down on is delaying the restart. The problem being, of course, that you can't restart a free kick with a rolling ball. Yeah. So there are two there are two possible scenarios about what actually happened here. Either Veltman played the free kick, that was him kicking it into Rice, where the foul occurred. So either he's played the free kick, the ball is live, and Rice has accidentally knocked it out for a Brighton throw-in. Or Veltman is knocking the ball slightly forward to take the free kick from a more advanced position, which, by the way, you're not really allowed to do if we're going by the letter of the law here. People do it all the time. Yeah, we know that. We see him do it. Everyone cheats a free kick a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're not allowed to do that. If we're talking the letter of the law here, Brad. And if he's doing that, if the ball has been rolled forward, then he's not in a position to take the free kick because the ball is in motion. The ball has to be stationary. If you're taking a free kick, you don't knock it forward. You place it down stationary with your hand, and then you kick it right away. That's not how you take a free kick, is rolling it forward into the other player. So there was no restart to be taken because the ball is in motion. And Rice has just kicked a ball in motion that was kicked at him first. Everyone says Rice incited the incident by knocking the ball out of play. No, he didn't. Veltman incited the incident by kicking the ball into Rice. Rice then subconsciously knocks it out of bounds, ball at his feet. You would do that. At which point Veltman, the ball is clearly rolling out. So it's not like he was anyone saying he was trying to take the free kick doesn't know what is blind. Genuinely blind. Like, it's not like the ball was stationary and he went to kick that. Nuh-uh. That ball was rolling out and he deliberately kicks Rice and then immediately cries to the ref and says, "Oh, I was trying to take the free kick. Oh, he just knocked it out of bounds." And then somehow the ref, I don't understand it. And I don't actually know how VAR is allowed to, these kind of rules are finicky because they're allowed to review red cards, but this, I believe, was technically a second yellow. So I don't know if it's a reviewable offense. It should be. Because I don't understand.
Like that, like sending someone off, it should be.
Yeah. I don't understand how VAR is not allowed to intervene in a situation like that. And I also don't understand how they looked at that incident and didn't give Veltman a red card for foul play, because there's no intent to play the ball there whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that pissed me off incredibly so. And now we've dropped 2 points. Like that was 3 points locked in, and we've dropped 2 points already. And and you can go, everyone can play, shoulda, woulda, coulda. The Brighton goal, a silly goal to concede. It comes off a rebound and it was poorly defended. Should we have conceded that goal even down 10 men? No, probably not. Should we have scored a second goal in the first half? Probably. Should we have scored a second goal in the second half? Probably. We could have done, yeah. We were down a man, but, could we have won the game? Yes. Did the red card unnecessarily change the entire game? Also, 100%. Yes, and completely unnecessarily so. And what infuriates me even more, again, coming back to this lack of consistency, is the fact that a year ago, when Arsenal played Man City and Kovacic was on a yellow and then immediately comes in from behind, slide tackles a guy, doesn't win any of the ball. It's in the first half an hour of the game. He's already on a yellow and he commits what could be a red card challenge in its own right, but absolutely has to be a second yellow. The referee does not give him a second yellow card. And then afterwards, he says he didn't want to change. He didn't want to influence or change the outcome of the game. He thought it was too early to give a card like that. So he didn't want to influence the outcome of the game. And he was backed up by Howard Webb saying the referees don't want to, impose themselves on a game unnecessarily. So, and I understand that notion to a certain extent, but you can't, a red card is a red card. And if it happens 20, 30 minutes into the game, then so be it. You shouldn't suddenly be protected if you then slide tackle a guy from behind. I understand a bit of leniency, but that's not really up for debate. And then to then immediately go back on that and pull a red card for Declan Rice out of your ass based on some random technicality, it just screams the referee was begging to finally send someone off for doing that, because they've been told, hey, we need to be more cautious of wasting time this season. And it just, as soon as Rice was on a yellow, guarantee you, he was begging for something, anything, to slightly waste time, just so we can go, aha, you've done that, bang, second yellow, red card, you're off. And now that is a referee imposing himself on the game unnecessarily.
There is a directive too about the slow down time wasting, and you're so right. Like, I didn't even think about that. Like, he was really like, "Oh, I'm going to get somebody on this," and it was just unfortunate that Declan Rice was already on the yellow.
Yep, Really, really annoying. So that's how my weekend started. That was the early kickoff on Saturday. I was down in the Jersey Shore having a nice time, and then I see that, and bang, my whole Saturday's off to a rough start. But I don't want to rant about that
We were having
longer than I need to.
and I did hit Saka early, so
Yes, in fact, I was amazed he didn't get a third first half shot.
yeah,
I took that as well. I was just like plus odds, and he's got good history against Brighton.
yeah,
You know, I'll take that. And he got 2 shots in 7 minutes, and
yep,
then couldn't find a third. But honestly, that's not a surprise. The way that Arsenal distribute the play to basically everybody is frustrating if you want to try and bet on a single guy.
yeah, for sure.
But I'll take the 2. Hard to argue against the 2. But yeah, that's the Arsenal red card incident that I wanted to rant about. Let's go. There were other games that happened this weekend too. We should probably talk about those.
The Everton game?
Yes, I need to laugh. I need to laugh at Everton because my goodness, and then Everton fans had the audacity to continue to call Arsenal bottlers. Like they kept going at it. They were this is related to the Rice incident that I said I would just move past, but they were just like, oh, blah, 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 Arsenal bottle again. And it's just like, I'm sorry, have you looked at your own fucking club recently? My goodness, a mirror is cheap, guys. Go and get one.
I'm surprised they didn't just say, all right, Dice, you got to go, man. Like, you're going to be in a relegation battle. Not only do you not get 3, you don't even walk out of there with a point, man.
Yeah. How do you not just park the bus? After the first goal goes in, come on. So funny.
It was sad, too, because I took Bournemouth draw no bet, and I was like, what a fucking stupid bet. Like, I wrote this in my article. I'm like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Odds this, odds that. Don't trust Everton. And I'm like, wow, Brad, you're such a horrible gambler. And then when it went to 2-2, I was like, get my money back. Yeah. I could not believe they lost that 3-2. Like, how freaking crazy bad, bro. Like, how bad.
They are so bad. But also, to be fair, even though Everton are horrific, I would never go against them at home because I've seen Sean Dyche park the bus and just eke out a 1-0 or a 0-0 so many times at Goodison Park.
Yeah,
but I just would not touch a team that has to go and play away there, even though they should win. So I respect the Bulls, and you know what? It paid off. So fair play.
I couldn't believe the odds, and I was like, I'm fucking. That's what I get. That's what I deserve. I suck.
Yeah, crazy stuff. That was really funny, and then my goodness, watching Haaland play is just getting it's crazy now. And I said this. Well, I don't remember if I said it on the podcast, but I definitely said it on Twitter. I was just like, this feels like a Haaland bounce back season, which is crazy because. Yeah. Last season is viewed as an off season, but he still won the fucking Golden Boot.
Yeah.
Now, did he score 5 goals against Luton and teams like that? Yeah. He was definitely scoring a lot against the lower tier sides, but back-to-back hat-tricks in games 2 and 3 is that's a statement.
Yeah. Massive.
That's a statement.
You know what's funny is we talked about this on BetUS the week before. His odds were plus 250 for 2+ goals, and then that rumor came out. I don't know if you saw it about him being injured, and I was like,
I always see those rumors,
bro. So I was like, okay, I don't want to bet it, even though that was one of the BetUS chat plays or whatever. And so I talk about it, I go, his odds are plus 380 for him to score 2 goals the following week. Is anybody going to take it? I end up taking it. Cashes in the first half, but what's absolutely sick is those odds from now on are going to just be plus 200 or worse, regardless of the opponent. I was like, that was sick is we're done with those. Those will never be our odds the rest of the year.
Yep. It's gonna go down to plus 200 for him to score twice. His hat trick's gonna be below 10-1, which is just a total ignore for me. I just can't take it. I can't take it. Oh, and here are the sirens again. They never ever leave me alone.
Well, don't worry, bro. My fire alarm went off this morning for a great deal of time.
Love that. Gotta love that. So yeah, so Haaland's ridiculous, and then I kind of wish I had taken Liverpool money line at the end of the day because they made that look really easy. It's very interesting because there are teams that are very good at what they do, but they don't shoot a lot. And I dislike those teams because I like betting on shots. Now, Liverpool are actually in that territory now because they're winning games. I still believe they haven't conceded a goal, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they're not shooting. They're not aggressive. Well, now, a lot of that is because Darwin Núñez is not touching the field like at all.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And Salah, rather than being aggressive, Salah's playing much more of a provider role. He's not ripping shots for the sake of it. So I respect them as a team. It's going to be very interesting to see how they do. And I think Arne Slot has done a brilliant job of just stepping into Klopp's shoes, and it feels like nothing has changed.
Right.
In fact, they almost feel better. I know it's early days, definitely early days, but they almost feel better. Defensively, they feel really solid because we joked about this on the podcast last season. We thought about how funny it was to take the team that Liverpool were playing against to score first and then parlay it with Liverpool money line because they would always go down and then they would score 2 or 3 and they would just win. They're not doing that anymore. They're scoring their goals, but they're not playing aggressive. They're implementing the slow build up, which I guess is all thanks to Pep. Thank you, Pep, for doing this and bringing a slow build-up positional play. Now Slot's doing it as well, in addition to Arteta and Pep. So now we have to deal with 3 big teams playing that way. It's kind of a bummer because I love the kind of just balls to the wall, aggressive style, loads of shots.
Send your defender up. Who cares how many you have at the back?
Those are the games I like betting on. That's why I like betting on Chelsea now because Chelsea love to attack and they're also not brilliant at defending either. Yeah. So even though I say that, they played a very solid game against Crystal Palace. They should have won that game, but defensively, they were very solid. Too much, in fact, because I was really pissed that nothing came out of my Palmer and Eza ladders. They both got 1 each. So would have been a good builder, but I did not builder it. I went 2 and 3. So
I was on Palmer.
That was a tough one.
But what's really annoying? I should have taken Noni because he was like plus 50.
Yeah. I'm pissed. I'm annoyed at myself. I didn't want to go too hard on that game, and I already had a lot of action on Eze and Palmer. And then, of course, Madueke takes 3 shots in the first half, which is about plus 750.
Yep.
Coming off a hat trick, and then you're just kind of like, oh, fuck, why didn't I put a bit
right there, right?
That?
You're like, the writing was right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's brutal.
It is what it is, Can't get them every time. But, yeah, that was basically all the Premier League action I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
La Liga-wise, my goodness. I know we said Barcelona were good last week, but this week, wow, what was it? 6-7-0 against Valladolid or whoever the hell they played?
Yeah.
I mean, it was it was destruction.
It was. Oh my God. I was wondering if you took any of the first half shots in that game because
I took Danny Olmo. I took Danny Olmo on his first start.
Plus 105?
I took him. I didn't take 2 because I've been burnt. So I was just like, I'll put a quarter unit on 3, which is plus 400, and that hit. So I take the unit. And what really pissed me off was Rafinha, who I needed a week ago when I parlayed him with Luka Bacchio, 2 and 3 first half shots, and he ended with 0 shots in the first half. And I was like, it's really interesting because some players play much more aggressively as an attacking mid. Some play much more aggressively as a winger. I think now I know it's a small sample size. We've got 3 or 4 games under the belt so far. Clearly, Rafinha will shoot more as a winger because he was playing at the 10 when I needed him and he did fuck all. In fact, he was actively pissing me off because he would just get the ball and then would just dribble into about 2 guys instead of pulling the trigger, which was really frustrating. And then the dude had a fucking hat trick in this game, 3 first half shots, you name it. Now, maybe that's a factor of Danny Olmo's facilitation at the 10. Maybe that's all he needed. But the problem is now Rafinha for 3 first half shots is going to be like plus 170.
Yeah.
Which is just horrific. Like that's what it was in this game. And I was just like, I'm not playing that. Those are horrific odds. And he just fucking burnt me. So fuck him. And then he did it in like 25 minutes. And I was just like, you're a fucking bastard.
I had the worst FanDuel experience trying to bet first half shots in that game. I'm literally like, keep refreshing my freaking phone. It's like location not verified, location not verified. Finally, at like the 58th minute, when it's time for me to, like 2 minutes left, I realize it's because my Wi-Fi is turned off.
There we go.
And then by the time I get it back on, I turned my Wi-Fi off because the hotel Wi-Fi was shit. And it was,
Right.
and I'm
Yeah.
Hilton guy. It always kept auto connecting. And I was like, so pissed, bro. I was like, that's such a bummer. But it was nice being in a legal first half state.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, great to watch Barca. They look really good. It looks like La Liga might actually be a good race this year. Maybe they'll even be competitive in Champions League. So, you know, nice. Fair play to Hansi Flick. He's got the team looking good. So, love to see that. And now Mbappe's off the mark. So, Madrid might be clicking. That being said, absolutely hilarious that collectively all of football Twitter roasted Arsenal for giving Kai Havertz a pity penalty last season when he didn't have a brilliant start because we were playing him at centre mid. And now Mbappe gets the pity penalty and everyone's just like, ooh, Mbappe, he finally scored. It's just like, yeah, because Vinny gave it up to him. Because because like all the newspapers had been like, oh, Vinny didn't pass to Mbappe once in that game. You know, he's got a, maybe they don't like each other. There's a clash of egos. So, you know, I guess it's fair play to kind of tell everyone to shut the fuck up and be like, look, we don't hate each other. Here, he can have my penalty. But very funny that it took like 3 or 4 games and Mbappe still hadn't scored a goal in open play until that point. And then he proceeded to score a filthy goal from open play in the other one.
I was listening to that game via radio, and I thought when they said Mbappe was about to take the kick, I thought Vinny was not in the game. I was like, oh, Vinny must not be in the game. That's what I thought. And then I like literally get like 10 million Twitter notifications about Vinny giving him the kick. And I was like, oh, okay.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that. Anyway, I think last year was definitely a bit of a rough one. Like Madrid clearly just like dog walked the league. Anyone who said Girona had a chance, no, they clearly fucking didn't. And that was apparent from the moment that Madrid actually played Girona.
Yeah.
So it's actually nice now that we have Barcelona off to a good start because Barcelona, I think, have a choke in them much more than Madrid would. So I think we should hopefully have a nice close race in La Liga. And it's interesting because Madrid just seem allergic to signing replacements to cover their injured players. Like anyone with eyes knew that they had very low depth at center back. And now if you look at the news, Militao's been taken under Brazil because he got hurt so he got hurt. So he's hurt, Mendy got hurt, and Tchouaméni just got hurt. They all got hurt. And maybe they're doing that weird like bullshit thing where Ancelotti's calling them back and saying, oh, they were hurt. But Militao at least went to the Brazilian camp and has now been sent home. So that's not his influence. That's the Brazilian medical staff being like, hey, he's hurt, go home. So don't understand why they just refuse to sign depth players and they just wait around for players to run down their contract so they can sign them for free. Very funny. Like, okay, like fair play. If that's your business model, okay. But consider getting some depth. And I feel like it's going to really hurt them. So we will see. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting.
It will be. I just can't believe that all their players just keep getting hurt. It's like, wow.
I can. Because they don't have backups. They just keep playing them all the time.
And they play a lot of games because they're always deep in UCL, and all of their players are always so like important to their national teams.
Yeah. The only time Ancelotti rotates is like Copa del Rey when they get people knocked. They will they'll get knocked out so early in Copa del Rey, just like not give a shit, and like that's why they haven't won a treble before because they just don't give a shit about it. Apparently, they're just like, we'll send the youth players out for this one, against like a third division side, and they'll win like 2-1. But but the baby guys scored, so like good for them. But I also understand why you wouldn't sign any depth at centre back or defensive mid. I mean, I know they've got a lot of good centre mids, but no one really plays the 6 like Camavinga does. Yeah. And Tchouaméni's already been exposed for not being that good at it. So it's a strange Strange times at Madrid, but then again,
it's what this was making me think. Like when Madrid make it to the Champions League final, we're gonna be like, how the hell did they do this again?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they'll always do it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like you can critique Madrid, and there are definitely areas that are viable critiques, and you'll have valid concerns about it, and then they'll just scrape out a win and keep scraping out wins. And I don't understand how they do it. They've got some crazy dark arts magic deal that enables them to just keep winning ridiculous games, which is wild. But hey, that's why they are Real Madrid.
Yep.
Not really much else in La Liga, apart from Isco getting hurt again. He re-injured himself, and now he's out for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, that was
sad. Yeah.
Can't catch a break. Holy shit.
Real bummer, because he's so much fun. He's so much fun to bet on and such a great part of that team. So what can you do?
Yeah.
What can you do? Anyway, that's far enough talk about La Liga. Let's talk about something that hasn't happened in over a year. Bayer Leverkusen finally fucking lost a game. Thank God.
And an amazing game, too.
Yeah, brilliant game. I was amazed that both teams to score over 2.5 and a goal in each half was almost even money. Took that, said that on the last episode, never looked back. That shit was easy.
Yeah.
Full of goals.
Wild.
Brilliant game. Don't understand, well, not that I don't understand, just wild that, like, I've been watching Leverkusen for over a season now and just being like, they're going to score. They're going to score. They're going to score. And then finally, they didn't fucking score. I was so concerned they were going to make that 3-3, and they didn't. They lost, and I finally got to send out my tweet saying that winning 49 games in a row is not for everyone.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, hey, everyone loves to shit talk the Invincibles. Everyone loves to shit talk the Invincibles. But, yeah, no one's actually fucking done it yet. So, like, well done to Leverkusen on winning the league unbeaten. Fair play. We did that. They did that. So, fair enough. But the Arsenal streak is 49 and should have been longer and would have been longer if Sir Alex Ferguson wasn't fucking buying all the refs. Because, my goodness, if there's a game that I could rant about, it's that game against Man U that ended the streak, because holy shit, the officiating in that game was ridiculous. And I, thank God, I was a child at the time and did not care as much as I do now, because I would have probably had a fucking stroke.
Wow.
Hey, I tell you what, San Marino are 2 minutes away from winning this game.
I know, I just saw that. You know what's funny? I didn't win a single pre-game bet, but I didn't lose a single live bet.
Oh, sick. What'd you take live?
I think I'm only down like, okay, I lost a 1 unit, lost 0.7, lost 0.5, lost 0.5, one unit, 1.6 units, 1/2 unit. Man, I only lost like 1/2 unit by not winning a single pre-game bet. I could live with that.
That's fair enough. It all evens out at the end of the day.
Yeah, bad day when you said I was probably the worst bets I could have made, and we walk away with barely being scraped.
Yeah, fair enough. Can't argue with that. Now let's talk about Serie A. This is more your area of expertise, Brad. So I think it's fair to say Inter are just ridiculous. I mean, I'm kind of annoyed I didn't bet them to win the league at like plus like 170 or whatever it was.
I bet them at plus 135.
God damn, that's fair enough. Can't argue with that, because they just look so much better than everybody else.
I'm going to bet them to win Champions League, too. I bet them last year to win Champions League.
What are their Champions League odds?
18-1.
Okay, that's reasonable.
18-1. They're so good. They're just talented. Everyone's back. And now they can actually give Lautaro like good rest, because Marcus Thuram, like, he's good in Serie A, but like
playing well.
When you bring in Taremi, just gives you extra legs. Barella's playing freaking insane right now, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Who else? What's his name? DeMarco's playing pretty good. Darmian's playing good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This whole team is just clicking.
They fucking did it. San Marino 1-0. Let's go.
That's lit.
That's their first win since 2004.
That's lit.
Holy shit, that's so sick.
It's it's funny. It's literally Inter and everyone else. And what's funny about that is like it's I think it's a big gap in skill level. I don't think it's close. Like people are like, oh, it's close. No. I don't have it close. I have a big gap in skill level.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I think Juventus are good, but then again, I then had to sit through that game against Roma. What the fuck was that, Brad? You're a Juventus fan?
Dude, do you want to hear how I had to watch this game?
Please tell me.
Bro, horrible. So I'm sitting with my pops, right? We're driving. I make him pull over so I can bet the game. And like as I was driving, I said, Dad, let's pull over. Then we have to drive back to our hotel and then 30 minutes back the other way. The whole time, I'm like, nothing's happening. Nothing happening. I can't watch and drive, so I'm listening. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. We get to where we're going. Now we have to drive back 30 minutes the other way. I have listened to this whole game. Nothing's happened. They put everyone on by the time I get back to my hotel. And I'm like, maybe we'll pull something out. Vlahovic comes off. Vlahovic didn't get good service yet. Vlahovic comes off. And I'm watching, and I'm like, damn, they can't give him a good pass. He comes off. Now, all of a sudden, they're trying to give these passes to Nico Gonzalez. And I'm like, you guys have to be freaking kidding me. Like, you couldn't make a single good pass yet. It was so brutal, bro.
Yeah, gross. I didn't have any action on the game outside of the Yildiz assist that I bet on like Thursday night when I found it at like plus 550. And then it was just so not fun. Not fun at all.
That's funny.
Brutal, sadly. And then, meanwhile, we've got AC Milan. Still haven't won a fucking game.
Dude.
So, what's going on?
What's his name's freaking trash, their manager. What's their manager's name? I forget.
I don't fucking know.
I
don't understand why they keep playing Luka Jovic. I get that Morata. I get that they're easing Morata back in, but like Okafor is right there and is very good.
Bro, right there.
I don't know if you got to catch any of the first half of the Spain game, but Luka Jovic missed, I think, one of the most ridiculous chances I have ever seen. He was literally a beautiful pass. He stayed on side, threw on goal, anywhere in the goal that he could go to, and he shanked it wide.
Yeah.
And go and watch it because it was hilariously bad, and I don't understand how he still has a job.
Bro. I'm gonna rewatch. Wait, I watched the Spain first half. I have to think about it. But I did watch it.
Yeah, no, it was not good. You would remember this miss if you'd seen it.
Trust me. I must have totally missed it. Then that's funny.
You would remember. But yeah, that's really all I have to talk about in Serie A. And then Ligue 1. I looked at my notes from the last podcast we recorded, and the notes are basically the same.
Yep.
PSG are doing fine without Mbappe, and Marseille look good, and Greenwood is cooking.
That's literally all you need to say, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Is Greenwood currently the top scorer, or is Barcola still doing well for PSG?
Barcola's doing well still.
Gotcha. I gotta go check that out, but maybe Greenwood at whatever you shouted it out when we did our preseason previews might not have been a bad idea, because not only is he scoring pens, he scored a brace in 2 minutes in this game for Marseille over the weekend, which is just like, he is playing very well, which is, I mean, wild to see.
When I was watching it, I was like, dude, like, you're supposed to come to Juventus.
Really? Was he?
Yeah, he was tied to us, and then I think it was a money thing.
Huh.
But that's fine. I like the pieces that we got, and he's good for him. He's playing with De Zerbi. Like, I think that helps him unlock even more.
Yeah, because De Zerbi liked him.
Yeah, he's more of an accurate finisher than like a lot of the De Zerbi players who just shoot and nothing freaking happens.
Yeah, but I like volume shooters, Brad. So they'll always have a special place in my heart.
But yeah, you do love those.
Really, not much else to say there. So let's talk about what's coming up. Now, we have international break stuff going on, but honestly, that international break is just kind of stuff that like I want to talk about. Like, in the moment. Like, I need to see lineups to do that. That being said, I am excited for the England game on Saturday. They play Ireland, and this is the first game for England without Southgate since like 2018, 2017, like a while ago. It's been a very long time. We have Lee Carsley coming in, who was the manager of the England under-21s. He won the under-21s Euros last summer. They won 1-0 against Spain. So we're modeling what we're doing sort of based on what Spain have done, which is very much promoting from within. You know, the Spain youth team obviously have played very well. Not that they won last year, because England won last year in the under-21 Euros. But apart from that, Spain, we've talked about this in the podcast before. I listed off all of the things that Spain were reigning champions in, and it's just like ridiculous now.
Yeah.
Now that they've added the Euros and the Olympic gold medal for the men's. But that's what Spain did. They promoted their youth manager like through the youth systems now to the senior team. He understands them. They're not playing that boring death by 1,000 passes possession anymore. They actually look kind of exciting. That being said, they did just draw 0-0 to Serbia, so fuck that shit. That's really boring. But for the most part, they've been playing very excitingly. Now, England have had Southgate, and Southgate's a mixed bag because it's really hard to argue against his results, but then you can also kind of say, are his results coming as a result of having such a talented squad, or has he played a part in that? You know, it's kind of hard to separate those because, people said the same about Ancelotti, compared to Pep, compared to Arteta, compared to Xabi Alonso, who very clearly have clear, defined tactical plans that they execute. Ancelotti does not. He changes shit a lot, and he comes out and is basically said, yeah, I fucked that one up. He experiments a lot and doesn't really have a definitive tactical plan, which I think is pretty clear if you ever watch Madrid. It's very much like an individual-led effort. And, it's not like they don't play well as a team. They do. But they're not tactically driven by like an Ancelotti methodology the way that Arsenal, City, Leverkusen last year are. So it's really hard to separate, because can you then say Ancelotti is a bad manager? No, not really. He's won a ridiculous amount of Champions Leagues, and he's won in like every country that he's like managed in, apart from with Everton.
Yep.
Because that was just a side quest. But he's won everywhere. He's won so many Champions Leagues. So can you say he's a bad manager? No, but I'm not going to look at his tactics and say, yeah, do you know what? His strategic thinking is what won Madrid this game. Same thing with England. I will never say, yeah, Southgate has really nailed this tactically. But at the end of the day, he went to, 3 tournaments, and we got to the semi-finals of the World Cup, the finals of a Euro that we lost on penalties, and the quarterfinals of a World Cup that we lost to France that we could have equalized in if Kane didn't miss a fucking pen. So that's not Southgate's fault. That's Harry Kane's fault. And then we just now get to the final of the Euros again. So, considering that 10 years ago, England did not get out of the group stages of the World Cup in 2014. We got grouped at the World Cup. Like, to go from that, to now, where we are not only expected to clear the group stages, but we're expected to get to the semi-finals, to the finals, where we are one of the top 2 favorites to win a tournament. That's progress. But I also don't necessarily say I could say it's because of what Southgate's implemented. It could just be a squad thing. So don't really know how to evaluate the era. At the end of the day, I'm sort of thankful for what he has done. But I'm excited to see what this England squad looks like now. And Lee Carsley has actually won something. So that goes a long way. That's helpful. He knows the players. He called up a bunch of players that were in his under-21 squad. Angel Gomez, who plays for Lille, that I had never heard of before. And I know a lot of people, Brad. I know a lot of players. And I'd never heard of this guy before. And then I went back and checked out the lineup from when we beat Spain last year in the under-21s Euros. And there he was in the center of midfield. And I was like, oh, shit. Okay, fair enough. He's there. He called up Palmer, but Palmer's been conveniently withdrawn like Foden and Watkins have.
Yeah, I was wondering what's going on with Palmer. Was it like an injury thing or something?
He's not fucking hurt, Brad. Don't buy into it. It's load management.
I'm quick to fall into the rumor mill.
Yeah, it's very much. And Pep does it all the fucking time. The amount of times that Haaland didn't go to play with Norway for qualifications, and Norway didn't make it to the World Cup. Yeah, that's Pep. That's Pep saying no, Haaland can't go.
Yeah,
and did the same thing with Foden, and now Palmer's not going. Ollie, I don't really get because he seemed fine, but who knows? Maybe every club's doing it now. I just wish that Arsenal would do it with Saka. We would love a 2-week vacation for Saka right now. Would be fucking gorgeous.
yeah,
but we're not going to get it, so it is what it is. But Carsley's brought Madueke, he's brought Gibbs White, he's brought Anthony Gordon, Angel Gomez, Rico Lewis, a bunch of players that were there at the under-21s. And he plays a very interesting tactical style that I'm not sure if he's going to do, simply because he's got Harry Kane now, and the England under-21 squad did not have that kind of striker. So I'm curious to see if he sticks to a sort of like initial tactical outline that was very successful last year, or if he just sort of comes up with something new. There's a lot of unknowns, and I'm very just excited in general to see how he lines up, to see how he plays.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting. But, you know, it's the Nations League, and I don't really give a shit about the Nations League, so now's the time to experiment.
The Nations League is literally like even an experiment for the teams. Like, get guys gelling and stuff.
Why does it exist? I don't get it.
Bro, it's brutal.
It's an unnecessary tournament.
It's so brutal.
Too many tournaments in general.
I freaking hate it.
It's very frustrating. That being said, talking about fixture congestion, as it's one of the talking points about it, let's talk about the Champions League, shall we? Let's talk about the Champions League, and then I think that's a good place to wrap it up, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, what do you think of this Champions League new format, Brad?
Bro, freaking god doggone headache.
It's not that hard. It's pretty easy, Brad.
All right, go ahead. Explain it to me. And you have 1 minute to explain it. Let's see.
1 minute to explain it. Okay, sick. So, let me just pull up the little league table. So, there are 36 teams in the Champions League this year. It's very simple. Everyone got grouped into 4 pots. That hasn't changed. But rather than getting one team from each pot into a group, which if you did, the group stages, the problem I had with the group stages of the original format was that these groups were basically wrapped up by like week 4. Like you'd have one team like one team on 12 points, one team on 9 points, then like 3.0 points. Like it was done. The group was done. This way, there's going to be so much fucking action. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be really good. And they've only added 2 games. At most 4 games if you go through the playoffs. Now, what are the playoffs? I hear you say, Brad. You definitely just said that to me. So what are the playoffs? Well, it's very simple. Every team plays 8 games in the league phase. They play 2 teams from their own pot and then 2 teams from every other pot out of the 4 pots. That's 8 games total. There'll be a home and away one from each pot. So from pot 1, home and away. Pot 2, home and away. And so on all the way to pot 4. That's 8 games. Yeah. After the 8 games, we will have a league table, a completed league table. The top 8 teams will automatically qualify for the knockouts of the Champions League. Then, from 9 down to 24, the subsequent 16 teams play in the playoffs. It's basically a precursor to the knockout round, and it's seeded. So 9 plays 24, 10 plays 23, and so on and so forth. So if you miss out on the top 8 automatic qualification, you will have a seeded draw, so you play against someone that should be, in theory, significantly worse than you. Out of those teams, that's the playoffs. You play 2 legs, home and away, and out of those 16 teams, 8 winners will go through, and they will make up the final 8 in the round of 16. And then, I don't know this for sure, but I would assume that draw is seeded as well, where the top 8 teams that automatically qualified won't match against each other right away. They would match against a team that came in through the playoffs. So that's how you get the round of 16. And then I believe, I don't know, the only thing I don't know about is how they handle dropping down into the Europa League. Maybe they send 25 to like 32. Maybe they send like the 8 teams that didn't make it. That much I don't know. I don't know if there even is mobility between the Champions League and the Europa League, or if they just send 25 to 36 home. Maybe they do. That much I don't know. But I think this format is much more exciting for the group stages. I think it makes a fairer draw for the knockouts because you now have seeding involved as well. And it's just going to be amazingly action-packed, especially the last day of the groups for week 8 when we have 18 games going on at the same time because they have to be played at the same time. 18 Champions League games at the same time. The parlay possibilities are going to be incredible, especially knowing which teams need points. Yeah, bet their shots, ladder their shots, parlay all the teams that need to win for their shots all the way to the max. Beautiful. I'm calling it now. I'm going to be doing that. It's worked for me before. It's going to work again. Champions League format. Boom. You're welcome, Brad.
Thanks for that. 5 minutes. I think I timed 5 minutes.
You know me, Brad. I can't do anything quickly. Wink, wink.
No. Oh my god, my contact almost fell out. I was rubbing.
Oh well, don't do that, Brad.
Oh,
don't do that.
I'm blind now. Okay, no, it's not that confusing when you say it like that, but it's a lot. It's a lot different.
It's different. Yeah, that's fair. But you know what? I think this is a long time coming. Now, is it in response to the Super League trying to push for shit? Yeah, probably. It probably is in response to the Super League. But the Super League is a fucking dog shit idea, and I will die on that hill. So, fuck your Super League, Madrid and Barcelona. You rich, selfish bastard pricks trying to give yourself $1 billion each just for founding the Super League. No, fuck off. The lack of mobility in that system is a terrible idea, and I genuinely hope we never ever see it again.
Yeah. I agree. Super League, stupid. Juventus want to join it though.
Yeah, I mean Arsenal wanted to join it as well, but thank God everyone shut the fuck up about it real quickly. we can't have Papa Perez getting everything that he wants.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Oh well, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Arsenal have a pretty good fixture, all things considered. I tell you what, though, Liverpool got absolutely fucked. I don't know if you saw Liverpool's Champions League fixtures, but they have Leipzig, they have Leverkusen, they have Madrid, they have Girona. Listen to the Liverpool's fixture list from the beginning of October to like the end of November. Ready?
Yeah.
So, starting with Liverpool-Chelsea on October the 20th, they play Chelsea, Leipzig, Arsenal, Brighton, Leverkusen, Villa. Southampton is the one little respite, and I know they'll drop points in that game because that'll be really funny if they do. Madrid, City. That's their run of fixtures from October the 20th to November the 30th.
That's brutal.
Absolutely hilarious. And I tweeted this because I think it would be hilarious if I'm right. I think they're going to exceed expectations, relatively speaking, because my expectations for that run is not high. I think they'll exceed expectations in the league and the Champions League. But I guarantee you that Southampton game has 2-2 written all over it. They will drop stupid points in that Southampton game, and it will be hilarious if I'm right.
Yeah, probably.
I would love to see that. But yeah. That's the Champions League format.
Let me ask you this. If you can't pick Arsenal.
Okay.
Who are you interested in to win the Champions League?
I mean, it's hard not to say, well, it's hard not to say City or Madrid, but that feels boring. I don't think Madrid are going to do it just because I don't think they have the depth required to sustain this run.
Yeah.
But I just feel stupid saying that because if they go and win it, it's just be like, yeah, they're Madrid. I'm excited. I mean, Liverpool are obviously a very good squad. And I think Liverpool have a decent chance of doing better than people think. That being said, it's tricky. It's really tricky. I mean, yeah. City, Madrid, Arsenal. I don't think Bayern are going to do anything. Barcelona might make a run. Liverpool at 12-1 is tempting.
Yeah.
PSG at 16-1 is very tempting because I actually think their squad has now got better without Mbappe. So I would be curious to see how PSG do. But at the end of the day, all these odds just kind of like not really that fun when you always have. You don't want to bet on City or Madrid at 2-1,
it's
but
always one of them in the final.
you feel stupid betting on anyone else because then like especially before any draw has happened. Like once the knockout draw occurs and you can see a route, that's a little bit different. But you could bet PSG at like 16, maybe you get 20-1, and then they match Madrid or City in the first round, and then you're like, well, fuck. Now what am I going to do? Because you can't hedge because the odds suck, and it's just like that's the luck of the draw. So that's why Champions League futures betting is just kind of not something that massively excites me. I tend to do it after the group stages because that's when, like, in December last season, I snagged Dortmund at plus 4,000.
Yeah.
And I was very happy about that. And then I just couldn't really hedge it because Madrid odds were terrible. I mean, even live at nil at halftime, Madrid were minus 170 to lift the cup. And I probably should have hedged there, but I didn't. And then fucking Danny Carvajal scored, and it was too late, which was a bummer. But that's typically when I play around with the Champions League futures once we know what the path looks like more, because right now it's such a crapshoot. You really
is
no idea what the path could look like.
It's just really hard because just like you're guessing, really. Like,
yeah. Well, hey, look, gambling is guessing at the end of the day.
It really is educated guessing.
There's too many unknowns. At least with the Premier League or something like that. You know the fixture list. You know what every team has to do. Champions League, if you do really well, you're gonna get a bye into the round of 16. You'll avoid the playoffs, and you should, in theory, get an easier matchup in the round of 16. But you don't know for sure. Like, what if PSG come ninth?
Yes.
They don't make top 8. They win their playoff game, and now PSG are playing City or Madrid because City Madrid came in the top 8. Brilliant. Now you're fucked, and your odds feel like shit because you can't even get closing line value. Because if PSG advance, in theory, you bet a future at the beginning of a tournament. If a team continues to advance, their odds should go down. Well, you know what I mean. Like the number should decrease. Their odds of winning should increase.
Yeah.
You should be getting good value on your future that you have. You might not. In fact, it might get worse. If PSG advance to the knockouts and then they match Real Madrid, you might get, at best, the line that you got now.
Yep.
So I just don't really want to play that game of knockout roulette unless I see a number that's blatantly off market. That's different. If a number's off market compared to the other books, they've done their math. They've crunched the numbers. If I get an off market number, fair enough, I might sprinkle that. But if Inter Milan are 16-1 across the board, then I don't really want to touch that now. And if they get a favorable draw in the knockout and they get dropped down to 10-1, fine. I would much rather take
that. It's worth it once you see the draw.
I'll take the worst number if I know what the route looks like and I can be like, yeah, you know what, they can beat them. I'd much rather do that. But playing it now, too many uncertainties. I just would rather enjoy the chaos of the group stage and think about futures in January.
I feel that. Totally understandable.
This is when you tell me you've locked like 3 teams into the Champions
League. No, I only like Inter right now. I didn't lock them in. I only like them, but I have the Bet US the Bet US futures show for Champions League on Monday, so I have to make up my mind by then.
Fair enough. I think Inter would be a good pick. And you at least wouldn't be rocking up saying Madrid or City because then you just look like a square.
Yep, for real.
So at least you'd be rocking up with a team from a league that you care about that got to the final a year ago that looks good now. So, I would not argue with an Inter Milan pick.
Good.
And you know me, I like to argue with a lot of things, Brad.
Arguing is your favorite thing to do, isn't it?
It is. Sometimes I'm just in the mood for it. But sometimes I just need to watch Arsenal and be alone. It'd be like that sometimes, Brad. It'd be like that sometimes.
Tis the life, right? Tis the life. So you gotta let the little, what do you call it, little vent session out? Just let the vent out, get the argument going, the blood flowing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the way it goes. Anyway, I am at the end of my whiskey, which means we're at the end of our time. So, Brad, anything that you would like to plug before we say goodbye?
Yeah, man. No power rankings this week, but just make sure you stay on my X at MrBradThomas, because the power rankings, while it's only supposed to be an experiment of getting to know each one of these teams, they've been pretty successful, which is pretty cool to see.
Love that. Got to love that. You guys can follow me on Twitter at FIFA Brit. If you haven't signed up for Gold Boys, it's a brilliant time to sign up. Soccer is back. It's international break right now, but we will be back with domestic seasons and the Champions League in a week or two. So brilliant time if you love soccer. Also, we have MLS going on, which I love. Also, NFL is back. I was going to say it's back tonight, but this will come out on Friday. So the NFL will be back. By the time this episode goes out, the NFL will be back. Also, baseball is getting towards the exciting end of the season. And it's a brilliant time for sports. I love the fall. Great time if you want to sign up, if you haven't signed up already. And you can sign up at goldboys.com. Thank you very much to the Gold Boys Network for continuing to host this podcast, even though we are incredibly messy, chaotic, and really just here for the vibes. But yeah, if you guys aren't following the podcast, if you're just listening but you haven't followed it, drop us a follow. And if you're feeling particularly generous, give us a 5-star review as well. But yeah, Brad, it's been lovely chatting shit with you.
Yes, sir.
Love the international break is always a strange mistress. Could be good, could be bad, but honestly, it's been pretty fun so far. So looking forward to more of it. But God, I am looking forward to the real soccer coming back in a week's time.
Hell yeah. Oh, like so much.
I look forward to seeing you next week. We can chat all about the games coming up in Premier League, all the other European leagues. And I think later that week on the Wednesday, we get the Champions League as well back. I think if my scheduling is correct. So looking forward to talking about all of that exciting stuff with you next week.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. To everyone at home, thank you for listening. And we will catch you in the next one. Peace.